Welcome, everybody, to Tiger Sports Report, Why I Coach series. Today, we have the pleasure of new Memphis wide receiver coach Larry Smith. Coach Smith, welcome to Memphis, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I'm extremely excited. Thankful for the opportunity, man, and just looking forward to a wonderful season.
Yeah, and when I looked over your resume, your career, there was a couple interesting Memphis ties, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But let's go back to your high school days, Prattville. You were a quarterback, correct?
Yes. Played quarterback. Growing up, that's all I pretty much played growing up was a quarterback position.
Was there a quarterback that you idolized or kind of like molded your game after, when growing up?
Yeah. My jersey number, I wore number 10, and it was two reasons why I wore number 10. One was because Chipper Jones for the Atlanta Braves, and then my second reason was because Cordell Stewart growing up. So I idolized those two guys because baseball was the very first sport that I played, and I love Chipper Jones, and then just Cordell Stewart's athletic ability. Him playing the quarterback position. I really looked at both of those guys for sure when I was growing up.
Now, in high school, did you play baseball or other sports, or was it just football?
I played basketball. I played basketball as well. As a matter of fact, I did AAU basketball throughout my high school career as well. Growing up, I originally thought I was going to be a basketball player prior to moving to Alabama, and once I got to Prattville, man, Prattville's real known for their football program. So that's how I kind of transitioned start focusing more on football.
Oh, when I was looking at your high school career, I found it. I don't think there's too many people out there that could say they've never lost a regular season game as a starting quarterback. I mean, talk about your high school career. Could 30 was it overall 39-2? Was it?
I think it was something along the lines of that. I was blessed to just have wonderful coaches, wonderful players around me, and the quarterback position is all dependent on your supporting cast. So I had great skill players around me, made my job a lot easier. All I had to do was distribute the ball to those guys, and those guys made plays and made me look good on Friday nights.
Now, your senior year was the same. You guys beat Hoover, correct?
Yes, we
Now,
did.
what's interesting about that, because that's when I think they were in season 2 of Two-A-Days, if you remember that. Do you ever watch that? Because I remember watching it, but I don't remember that episode. And I tried to search YouTube and just couldn't find it. So, do you remember yourself on that show? Did they
Yes,
show that game?
it was funny that you bring that up. We maybe I think the show had maybe aired like a month or so, maybe a couple months after that game, and we all kind of had like a little watch party over at the house. So it was a good feeling to see yourself on your team, and just able to finally come on top on victory. Because the thing about it, we had played them 2 years prior to that in the state championship game, and they got the best of us. So we had some revenge. We had to get out on those guys, and we were able to do it.
Nice. So that was one of your losses. What was the other loss? Because you only had, I think, 2 losses.
The other loss was third round of playoffs of 05, my junior year. We were playing Opelika, and we were down 17-0 with like 8 minutes left to go. We come back, make it 17-15. We have the ball. We're driving. We're like inside the 30, maybe 25-yard line. I remember exactly the play. It was 2nd and 3. We ran a quarterback draw. I get the first down. I reach out for extra yardage. Boom, helmet on ball. I fumble the ball. They recover. Ball game's over. And it's under a minute left in the game. We were going in to win the game. So that was a real frustrating, moment for me at the time. But just, going to our senior year, we came up short, those 2 years in a row. So just our senior year just meant a little bit more to us.
Now, I can't remember back then. I think iPods were around. So what was in because I had Walkmans back in my day. So your iPad, what music did you listen to, like pregame rituals in high school? What got you excited?
We still, at the time, iPods had not came out yet. This was in 2005, 2006.
Yeah.
So I had this little cassette player, little CD player, portable CD player, and I was listening to, back then, Young Jeezy. Yeah.
Nice.
So Had the young Jeezy going on pretty heavy back then.
Now talk about the recruiting process because that's changed a lot from when you were going through recruiting to now. How did someone back then really get their name out? Was it because I don't remember camps and combines being that popular back then?
I think they were kind of getting started, and
Getting started, yeah.
mainly the camps that we had ended up going to, were to on campus. We didn't have like the big rival camps
Hmm.
and that nature. We just went to the universities and worked out. But I remember most of us, we had to make our own highlight tape.
Yeah.
So we had to go into the film room, cut up the film, put it on the actual VHS, and we had to hand deliver our highlight tapes. So
Man.
they had like these little regional rival events where you had to personally bring your highlight tape, to that deal, and that's how you were kind of shopping yourself around. And you know how it is now. Just word of mouth as well. If you have a guy like particularly myself, just being a sophomore starting, quarterback, as people start talking, I guess, and that's when recruiting started for me. Was my sophomore year. I got my very first letter from Arkansas. I'm 15 years old. I'm like, oh my God, what is this? So but mainly it was word of mouth, and then you really had to go out there and kind of sell yourself, in regards to just, creating your own highlight tape. We didn't have Huddle like they have now.
Hmm. Yep. Seems
So
like back then there was more of a hustle than it is now because now it's easy.
it really was. It really was. I remember me and one of my teammates, we were literally sitting there like on Saturdays after the game and start cutting up our own film, and start building it up so we could start, sending stuff out to those respective universities who we wanted to try to attend and play ball at.
Now, what were some of the schools that were offered you? Did Memphis offer you? Because when I take a look at your rivals profile, we had that you actually took a visit to Memphis. Was that true?
Very true. So I had committed to Vandy like a week or two prior to my senior season. I wanted to go ahead and get that out the way so I could just focus on, my senior season. But Memphis came in strong. They had recruited me pretty heavily. And I took an official visit. I did. I took an OV here the week before I took my OV to Vandy. So I was solid on Vandy, but Memphis, they definitely, had a great impression on me. With Coach Heldon, who was the offensive coordinator at the
Hmm.
time, and Connie West was the head coach at the time. So I mean, they did a wonderful job of recruiting me. But yeah, I only took two official visits, and one was here at Memphis, and the other one was at Vandy.
No, so you get the Vanderbilt, and one thing that struck out to me, you got three head coaches in a 5-year period. So I mean, you can understand, kids these days with a lot of turnover. What was that like back then, going through three head coaches in 5 years?
It was different. It wasn't easy. I'm not gonna sit up here and tell you it was, but it was a little different because the way Coach Johnson had retired, he retired like mid-July, so we were 2 weeks prior to fall camp, and he all of a sudden retires, and we promote Coach Robert Caldwell, offensive line coach, to the interim coach that year. And we go 2-10. We had a lot of injuries. Go 2-10, and then he gets relieved of his duties, and then we bring in Coach James Franklin, our senior year. So within a 16-month period, we had three head coaches.
Yeah, your senior year though, when you take a look at those games, I know you got injured. Was it against Alabama is when you got injured?
Yes,
But that year, you guys were better than the record because there was like 3 games where you lost by less than a touchdown. So talk
yes.
about that year and the job Coach Franklin did to get that program turned around that quickly.
Coach Franklin did. He did a wonderful job. We had an experienced team. We had a lot of guys that played a lot of ball on that team. Coach Franklin came in there, man. With a new excitement, a new type of energy. He came at the right time for us. And it definitely paid off. Because we had struggled with just finishing games. Throughout. Prior to Coach Franklin getting there. But I'll tell you this: that was the hardest off season I've ever experienced. It was, but it showed that fall for us. It really did.
Hmm.
So, guys' bodies changed. Guys completely started buying in. and it showed. He really came in and created a culture, a winning culture at Vandy. It was a wonderful experience.
And your last game was in Memphis,
Yes,
playing in the Liberty Bowl. Talk about that experience.
man. So just being my senior year, battled some injuries. So I had a high ankle, I had a concussion. So I just had things that were going on. So Jordan Rogers became the starting quarterback, Aaron Rodgers' younger brother.
Mm-hmm.
So starting quarterback, and we end up playing here, and he gets hurt like second quarter of the game, and I come in, and we come back and we tied up, and unfortunately we came up short. But it was just a wonderful experience, just to get a chance to play in my final game at Vandy, even though things didn't go as planned my senior year. But it was just a wonderful experience to get a chance to help contribute the last game of the year. And, it's weird and kind of just crazy how it ends up. My last game is here in Memphis, and now I'm here coaching.
Yep.
So
And you took an
full
official visit to Memphis as a high schooler. Last game was in Memphis, so a lot of Memphis ties there in your young career.
full circle, man. So just truly a blessing and a wonderful opportunity.
So you go from Vandy in 2011, but in 2013 you're now a graduate assistant at Jacksonville State. At what point did the coaching bug hit you that you're like, you know what, I think I want to do this?
Well, my senior year at Vandy, when I got hurt, and I was a team captain as well, so I was obviously a leader. So I was just kind of I can kind of see myself maybe potentially doing the coaching deal. Every summer when I was at Vandy, I worked at a youth center, so I was a summer counselor every single year throughout college. So I was, whether it was some form of education or something, I kind of saw myself as, mentoring, young men. And it just was able to work out once I got done playing. I was able to get a volunteer spot first at South Alabama. And then I was able to get on to Jacksonville State as a graduate assistant. And I was just like, man, I just want to be able to contribute to the game of football, in some shape, form, or fashion, because the game has changed my life, forever. So I'm not a sit behind the desk, suit and tie type of guy. I have to
Mm-hmm.
be a game, some way, or some form, man. I just want to be active and, was able to mentor young men as well. And I just kind of saw myself being able to do that.
And it wasn't long before you got you got promoted. It wasn't just 1 year. You went from graduate assistant to quarterback coach. When you became the quarterback coach, talk about I can't remember the quarterback's name in 2015 when you guys went to the FCS championship game, but talk about that season because that was a great year for you guys, and you almost beat Alabama. I think was it the second game of the year, or was that the first game for you guys?
The second game we had played Auburn. Yep,
Yeah.
we had played that year. The quarterback's name was Eli Jenkins. Eli was a wonderful, wonderful quarterback. Made my job a lot easier, But we had a wonderful staff. We had really good players, And when we got there in 2013, Coach Clark kind of laid the blueprint out for us, and we were able to get to the third round. And then the following year in 14, we got to the second round, and then we were able to kind of get over the hump in 15, and make it to the national championship game. But that year was special. The Auburn
Mm-hmm.
game, we probably should have won that. We're up, with like a minute left to go. We shank a punt. They get a short field. They go down there, tie it up. We go to overtime. We end up losing by 6. So that year was special for sure. But I mean, we're blessed to have wonderful coaches and really really good players.
Well, when you were at Jacksonville State, well, before that time, I was stationed when I was in the Army. I was stationed in Fort McClellan, which is not too far away from Jacksonville State. There was a place that I used to love going to. I wonder if you have ever been there. To me, they had the best wings in that area. Was Jefferson's. Have you ever been to Jefferson's?
Yeah, I've been to Jefferson's a few times. So funny story. My Both of my parents are from Calhoun County. They're from Anniston. So
Oh, nice. Yeah, right there.
when I was at Jacksonville State, I was able to see my grandmother, quite a bit, see a lot of family members. So I was kind of, getting the best of both worlds right there, just being right there in Calhoun County. So that was a fun time for sure.
Nice. And then you get the call to go to UAB. What was that transition like to go from FCS, and now you're in the FBS. Was there much of a difference, or how did you take that?
It was truly an honor because Coach Clark was my high school head coach, and he was a head coach at UAB. Now it was a little different because they were rebuilding the program.
Hmm.
So when I get there in January of 16, um, we did not have a season that fall. So just imagine going from playing in the coaching the national championship game to now you're re-recruiting, you're building a roster from scratch, and then on top of that, you're not playing any games that fall. So just imagine this, and we went heavy junior college, just to get an older roster. So you can only
Hmm.
imagine the type of kids that we had brought in, just trying to get those kids to buy into, one culture. It was an experience for sure, you know. And it was a challenge, but it was a great challenge that molded me to, the position I'm in right now. But it was different because you go from coaching or playing every fall to now you're not playing any games. But Coach Clark did a wonderful job of kind of simulating the season. We game plan an opponent, each week. He had built in bye weeks for us, so he treated it as if it was a season, but we're just going against each other for a whole year. So you can only imagine
Yeah.
was on the players, that we were ready to coach against, another team, and our guys were ready to play against another team. So that year for sure was interesting, but it was definitely rewarding, once we got to play in the 17 and just the success that we had over those next 6 seasons.
Yeah, because I think he had what, three straight Conference USA appearances, championship appearances, won two of them, I believe.
Yes, we did. And that's just, man, just Coach Clark's vision. From his day one, him stepping foot on campus, to the kids buying in. It wasn't easy at all, but it was definitely rewarding seeing those kids put the time in and just understanding where the program it came from. you know.
Hmm.
Uh, but it was definitely rewarding, man. Just coach did a hell of a job of creating a tough minded blue collar culture for sure.
All right, and you get a call from Memphis and Coach Silverfield. What was that conversation like? And did you have to think about it? Did you want to stay, at UAB? What was that thought process for you to move over to Memphis?
Well, our interim coach Brian Vincent at UAB this past season, we had got let go, so I didn't have a job. It wasn't like I
It
was
was an
out.
easy yes for you, huh?
Yeah, it wasn't like I was offered the opportunity to stay at UAB. I was out of a job. We had finished our bowl game on December 16th, I think. And I was sitting around, me and the wife and little man, we were just sitting around, and I get a text from coach, and we get on the phone and we talk, and I'm like, yeah, coach, I'm interested for sure. I don't have a job. So it was an easy decision, and things worked out, in our favor and in my favor, and I was able to get up here, man, and I'm excited and just really thankful for Coach Silverfield for, allowing me to get here and have this opportunity. I'm just do the best of my ability.
And when you look at the Memphis players, the players that you're going to coach, what excites you about this group of wide receivers?
Man, just, their energy, their love for the game. Um, just that we got a good group of kids here. We brought in some good players as well to add to the roster. But I'm just excited just about their knowledge of the game. We got a smart group, hardworking group, but I'm excited to get a chance to work with them and, just the history of the program as well. Just, from Anthony Miller, to Calvin Austin, day back to even Duke Calhoun.
Hmm.
You know, years ago, Duke was, matter of fact, on campus when I had my official visit. So I remember he was a really good player coming through. But just the history of that position, and just these guys and just their willingness to learn and willingness to get coached up, and I'm excited for sure because I know how good we have the potential to be, particularly at the receiver position.
I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. You've been around Memphis. You had the Memphis barbecue. You've been in Alabama. You've had the barbecue. Which one do you prefer?
Oh man, you put me on the spot. You can't go. Can't go wrong with either city. I'll say
That's right.
that. You can't go wrong with either city.
Yep. And now the Battle of the Bones is back. You guys will be playing, UAB. They're in that conference. What do you know about that rivalry?
I know. Growing up, it was a big rivalry for sure. When they both were in Conference USA. Just the history of between both programs. They typically recruit a lot of the same players, from the same region because it's a 3.5 hour drive. You know, um, but it's going to be an intense rivalry for sure, and it's good. That we had that rivalry back going. It's been quite some time, but I know just real similar programs for sure. Just blue collar
Mhm.
programs, hardworking, tough, physical um, programs for sure. But it's gonna be exciting.
Now, when you go out there and recruit, what type of player do you like to recruit? When you look at wide receivers, what do you want to see in a wide receiver?
Uh, Man, a guy for sure is gonna catch the ball. We get paid to catch we get paid to catch the rock. So a guy that consistently catches the ball, a guy who's sudden in and out of his breaks, a guy who can create separation at the top of the route, and a guy who can find a way to get in the end zone. I'm also looking for unselfish guys. What are you doing when the ball is not coming your way? You have to block for your teammates, for your brothers. I want to see how hard the the kid plays. Does he take plays off? Because if he takes plays off, then he's a selfish guy. That's not the type of guy I want to add to my room. But if the guy plays extremely hard, those are the type of guys that we're looking for. Guys that we can build in the program. But he has to be able to catch the ball. He has to be able to create separation. He has to be able to find a way to get in the end zone. We're looking for guys that can get in the end zone. You can catch all the balls you want, but if you're not scoring points, that means nothing. But then he has to be unselfish for sure. How hard are you playing when the ball is not in your hands?
What's the best advice a coach ever given you? I guess
Uh,
as a player and then as a coach now.
uh, Coach James Franklin told me this right when I got done playing. How it is. You get graduated and you're broke. You have no money. You're trying to get the first job. First job that's available. So I think they had a position opening at Vandy at the time, and it might have been like an ops or something like that. I forgot what it was. And I told Coach Franklin, I said, Coach, I want to interview for the position. And I was like, Coach, man, I need some money. I was ready to go ahead and start working right now. And he told me, he said, Larry, you're not qualified for the position. And one piece of advice: don't chase the money. The money will chase you.
Nice.
So, and that's just the mindset I've always had. Is just do my job every single day. Everything else will take care of itself. But if you're definitely chasing the money in this profession, you're doing a disservice to the kids. Because it's all about the players. I'm all about development, relationships. Getting those guys to be the best version of themselves on and off the field. But if you're in it for the wrong reason, then now you're selling the kids short. That's the last thing that I'm trying to do.
Nice. And I know coaches, there's the job is very taxing for your time. How do you balance work with your family?
In the off season, we have a little more, we have a little more free time, and we have some vacation time built in, so we kind of maximize that time. Now during the season, things are pretty busy during the season, but we always Thursday nights was our nights. It'd be date night. We'll go out to dinner. Every single Thursday. We made sure that typically on Sundays, we'll get up and we'll cook breakfast and do things of that nature. And Saturday nights after the game. So, but Thursdays for sure was designated date night. We're going out to eat no matter what. Because we typically get out of practice a little bit early on Thursdays. So we just made sure that Thursdays was our time for sure.
Nice. And this is your time to speak to the Tiger fans. What can Memphis expect from you and the team this coming season?
Hardworking, dedicated, um, exciting brand of football for sure. You guys are gonna get the best version of myself every single day. Hopefully, the best version of these receivers every single day. We're just gonna focus on, getting better every single day, taking it one day at a time. And hopefully put the best brand of football that we can put out there this upcoming fall. But you're gonna get a determined, hardworking, blue collar receiving core for sure.
All right, man. I appreciate your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.